guys, how you doing? I know that I've kind of dropped off for a little bit, but that's partly because I was whisked off to Atlanta to go and shoot a movie that I'm not really allowed to talk much about, but I can show you some things sneakily, as long as you don't tell anyone. I can show you this. I can show you our fantastic AD team. I can show you her. We met on Black Widow. This is Chelsea. I can show you a sneak peek of some of the sets. We're in the studio right now. We're in the studio that we're shooting in on this movie that I can't tell you much about. But look at that. That's Annabelle. That means they're shooting. I'll be quiet now. And then I can show you that. What's that? What's gonna be in there? Oh, and I can show you Jake. Jake. This is Jake, our director.
Hi, everybody.
What are we allowed to say we're doing?
I don't think you're even allowed to be doing this, most likely.
I know, someone's gonna come and rugby tackle me.
Yes.
But what are we?
We're just making a little movie.
Oh.
How
you doing?
We're good. Yeah.
Can I show some of this?
You're not allowed to show anything.
That's enough. That's it. That's it. That's all you're allowed to see. I can show you a bit of that. No, I can't. I can't show you that. I can show you these guys. And we can say we're having an amazing time, and I can't wait you to see what we've made.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. Marvel just dropped a surprise first look at the Thunderbolts movie with Yelena Belova returning. That's Florence Pugh. When she says she's been busy for a minute, she's talking about doing all the Dune 2 press. Like she's been doing interviews for that movie for a while. But obviously she's also joking that it's been a minute since she's been on screen since the events of the Hawkeye series. That's the last time we saw her in the MCU. So we'll break it all down. There's a couple Easter eggs here, and in traditional Marvel style, they make it seem like they're not revealing stuff. Like she's doing a very Tom Holland, Mark Ruffalo kind of teaser where they reveal a bunch of stuff, making it seem like they aren't revealing anything. If you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the videos. Now that they finally started filming, we'll probably start getting some footage from the actual set soon. So whatever they wind up releasing, of course I will do videos for it. Just starting at the beginning of the teaser here, Florence Pugh is mostly just saying hello to everyone, but she's showing off her new Black Widow suit. Notice the pauldrons have a new symbol on them. They're a little different color too. These symbols would be whatever symbol Val is using for the Thunderbolts team when the movie picks up. She's got her stun batons on her back, which are kind of like Eskrima sticks with a little more tech in them. Kind of like Daredevil's sticks, but a more tech version of that. She's also got her Widow Stingers. Like, even though they dismantled the Black Widow program during the Black Widow movie, she's still got all of those tech and weapons that she uses during her day-to-day missions. She shows off the official logo of the movie. Not big surprises here, like this is just what the logo is going to look like for a while. It could wind up changing. They've done that in previous movies too, where they changed the logo a couple different times. This person who's joking about not revealing anything while she full-on reveals a scene they're filming on the monitor is Jake Schreier. He's the director. Zoom and enhance, this scene they're filming on the monitors in the background is with her, Florence Pugh's Yelena Belova. That's her on the monitor holding up a gun inside this concrete room. My early theory, just based on the context, the way they're releasing this teaser and not wanting to give away too many things, this is probably from like the very beginning of the movie, and she might be on a mission on her own, like just doing something before she gets called by Val to join the actual Thunderbolts team when they put it together. Their main mission in the movie is basically to come together to take down Sentry, who Val has created and has gone off the rails, gone completely insane, like Sentry does in the comics. So sort of like Val creating her own mess, then putting the Thunderbolts together to clean up that mess, because they're all expendable. She doesn't really care if they die. We also know when the team first comes together, Yelena Belova is meant to be the leader. It's basically Marvel's version of a Suicide Squad movie, even though they probably don't want that comparison made just because it makes it seem too similar to James Gunn's Suicide Squad movie. But basically that's the setup. You have Val, who's like their version of Amanda Waller, putting the team together to fix a mess that she herself created when she created the Sentry, and he went crazy, turning into the Void, making him the most dangerous person on the planet. Like, you basically kill someone who could wipe the entire planet. Now you have to put a team of anti-heroes together who nobody cares about. You don't care if they die, so they're expendable to try and clean up your mess.
They're about to get weird. So when they do, we're not gonna need a Captain America. Keep your phone on.
Will do, Val.
Don't call me that.
Copy.
Currently, the Thunderbolts team is Winter Soldier, Red Guardian, Yelena Belova, Black Widow, U.S. Agent, Ghost, Taskmaster, and it looks like Ayo Edebiri was supposed to play Val's assistant, but she had to drop out for scheduling issues. Most of you probably remember her from The Bear. She's being replaced by Geraldine Viswanathan from Blockers. She's also been in a lot of other comedies recently, too, so it just implies some of the tone of what that character is going to be like in the movie. But essentially, the idea in the movie is that Val has taken over control of the Weapons Plus program, and that's where the Sentry comes from. This is the clip of the director talking about what the movie is actually about.
Characters, and is there something specific to those characters that bring them together, and something that they're going through that isn't, the most traditional superhero, story to be told. And I think that's sort of similar to the way that we're looking at Thunderbolts, is that there is a real clear take and perspective on these characters, and there's a specificity to it. And then also, John Watts is my roommate from college, and we're good friends, and so knowing just what a great experience he had making those films. And I even did second unit on like the LA portion of one of the Spider-Man movies. So like having a little bit more kind of connection or insight into that world. But beyond that, it was just like a really different approach and a new kind of story to tell amidst that, which I know they've made so many things. But it is, it's not a sequel. And it's not, yes, these characters have appeared before, but it is a new story being told, and a story, I think, with a very different perspective than maybe people are expecting. And I think that felt exciting and felt like a real challenge worth taking on.
Sentry's real name is Robert Reynolds. He started out as a drug addict who was just down on his luck and broke into a lab where he thought he could find a score. He took what he thought was going to be drugs that were going to get him high, but it wound up giving him powers. It wound up being the Golden Sentry Serum, which was a derivative of the Super Soldier Serum, part of the Weapons Plus program. It gave him the power of 1,000,000 exploding suns. Like, that version of the Super Soldier Serum was way more potent than the version that the other super soldiers on the Thunderbolts team got, or even Captain America got. But the process of getting all that power when he was already kind of broken mentally caused him to develop an alternate personality called the Void, who's a totally evil version of himself with an equal level of power, but different types of powers. So a lot of his backstory is similar to the backstory for Homelander and the other boys, superhero characters getting their powers from Compound V, but the whole pitch is that he's mentally very broken character. He's not mentally stable, so the whole idea is, what if Superman, but he's totally crazy, which is where you get to the Sentry in the MCU. Totally schizophrenic. He's a schizotypal personality disorder, not the same thing that Moon Knight suffers from, but similar. Both of them have alternate personalities, like Moon Knight has Mark Spector, Stephen Grant, we just met Jake Lockley at the end of that series, but he has something called dissociative identity disorder, which is different from what Sentry has.
I'll get us through this, just as long as you and me stick together. One love and a mommy and a daddy and a boo-hoo-hoo.
Soldier Boy is a good example. Like, he's the first version of the Compound V superheroes that they created. Eventually they refined the formula like they did for the Sentry, and Homelander winds up getting a much more potent version of it, becoming nigh invulnerable, the most powerful person on planet Earth.
You think you look strong? You're just a Chi knockoff.
Oh, no. I'm the upgrade.
They revealed what's going on with Val, Thunderbolt Ross, and their whole plot to recreate super soldiers in the Weapons Plus program. This pays off a long-running Easter egg that I'll explain in a second from the first Incredible Hulk movie. And at D23, Kevin Feige very specifically remarked that Winter Soldier was going to be the most mentally stable person on the Thunderbolts. David Harbour, who plays Red Guardian, said that it's all about this group of fundamentally broken people, mentally broken that is, who all have crazy levels of powers, who find a way to work together and help heal each other slowly. Like, help each other actually accomplish their mission, but also fix a lot of their mental problems they've been suffering from. And a lot of them just happen to be super soldiers, kind of like Sentry is. Technically, he's a super soldier, even though it's a slightly different version of the formula. Through Captain America 4 and the Thunderbolts movie, they're paying off this long-running Easter egg from the Incredible Hulk movie with the Weapons Plus program, which is meant to be Thunderbolt Ross's renamed version of the Super Soldier program.
For biotech force enhancement.
Yeah, super soldier.
And I dusted it off. Got him doing serious work again, bold work.
So, for example, Wolverine comes from the Weapon X program, but X is a Roman numeral that stands for 10. He's the 10th version of the Weapons Plus program of them trying to recreate a super soldier using different means. All the members of the team here come from some iteration of the Weapons Plus program or some offshoot in the case of the Winter Soldier with Hydra's Winter Soldier program. So the idea in the movie is the Sentry has gone crazy and the Thunderbolts have to come in and stop him, probably kill him on Val's orders. There are a couple of changes they made to the way that the Sentry's powers work too. So instead of him just transforming into the Void, or like the Void personality taking over his body and him having some kind of physical transformation, first off, his powers are going to work a little bit like Dragon Ball Super Saiyan transformations when he transforms into just regular Sentry. And instead of his body transforming when the Void takes over his mind, it'll actually be more like the Jujutsu Kaisen domain expansion ability, where the Thunderbolts literally have to travel into his domain, like his mind space. A lot of anime tropes working into Marvel nowadays, but Jujutsu Kaisen has been so fired that if you're going to borrow from something in anime, that would be the right place to do it. Even though Steven Yeun is leaving the project, I'm expecting most of the story to stay the same as it was before, but because so much time has gone by since they announced the Thunderbolts movie, they might have changed a little bit of it, also with all the delays. Generally nowadays, Val seems kind of like their Nick Fury in that she shows up in everybody's post-credit scenes. She's kind of filling that role. We might see her in a couple post-credit scenes in the upcoming movies because there's a lot of ground-level stuff happening during Marvel Phase 5 just in general. In fact, speaking of ground level, the people who made Echo and are making Daredevil Born Again said that they're actually setting up Kingpin to be their ground level Thanos inside the MCU. So, a lot of hope for him showing up in Spider-Man 4 as one of the big antagonists. I'll do separate videos about Spider-Man 4 when we get more details about that. That's like a whole completely separate thing. But if there's any other Easter eggs or references that you spotted in that teaser that Marvel dropped, just write them below in the comments. There's a bunch of big stuff coming up. There was a Spider-Verse short film that I was making a video for. I'll try to post that tomorrow after my Invincible Episode 7 video. Very apropos because Steven Yeun was almost going to be a version of the Sentry. Now it's going to be Lewis Pullman though. While you wait for everything, everyone click here for my brand new Deadpool and Wolverine video, and click here for my brand new X-Men 97 episode. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.